Check, 1, 2, 3.
Clear. Honorable Jim Ryan.
You on, Kyle?
Yes, sir.
All right, Timber County Commission Court come to order Tuesday, 22nd day of November, 2022, 9:30 a.m. County Courtroom, Analog, Texas. Now 9:33 a.m. You all rise, Robert House, the legal please.
We, well, two more, people last week, Otis before passed away. And then also Emery Ledoux passed away. Remember those two families? Otis, here and up in Kirby over the. Lord, we thank you for the day, and we thank you for the privilege it is to gather here today. We ask you to just give us wisdom and all decisions, only your wisdom, please, Lord. And Lord, we lift up these mentioned Kyle's grandmother, and Otis LaForce family, Lou's family, and there's many others. Maybe Joe buried her last week. Lord. Just be with these families, there's a lot of people, especially this time of year. At Thanksgiving and Christmas is tough on these families, but give them your peace and comfort as only you can, and help us as we interact with them that we can say the right words. And Lord, just again, you blessed us so greatly for the change, and you just guide us and direct us in all things. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Johnson, pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Second. All right, first, just the regular meeting agenda. First citizens comments, my friend Jesse Evans is here. Jesse, come on up, you have 3 minutes to make your citizen comments, sir. Yes. Aaron, will you check that mine, make sure it's on. Morning, Jesse.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Hear you now.
Good, good. All right. Good morning, everyone here. My name is Jesse Evans, and I'm from the Winter Store community. And I'm here on a proposition to see if we can get a street name change or add a new name to a street that does not have a name currently. And I'm pretty comfortable in what I'm presenting here. Several years ago, maybe 20, I guess, at that time, I approached the Anahuac City Council and I asked them in recommendation, would they name a street after the individual that is now today is Michael Ricks Boulevard. So that was passed at that time. And so basically what I said in saying that is I have did my homework and know how to go about approaching this. When you're asking for a street name, you interfere with residents, businesses, and all of those things involved. So now I have two streets that I would like to recommend. One is School Road. The second has no name. This happens to be my layout of the streets. Okay. I approached Commissioner Gore several years ago on this, and I had his support. But because of my commitment to teaching and coaching always out of town, I could never attend the commissioner's court. Now I'm able to do that because I'm retired. As you can see, this is Highway 124. The street right here is School Road. It runs from 124 to T. Jones Road, about 300 yards. And I'll let you know with the other street here, from the primary school all the way to the baseball field of these chambers, it has no name. Both of these streets does not interfere with any business, any mail delivery. There have to be any changes. East Chambers Independent School District mail goes to 216 Champion Drive. That does not interfere with either of these streets. So I'm in hopes that I've got a good enough drawing here to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. I have green. There's only 4 streets, and 4 signs that need to be made. So we're not talking about 30, 40 signs. Now, the street names I would like to recommend, and I'm pretty sure most of you heard of Vance McDonald. If you haven't, he was a player from East Chambers, graduate of 2008. He went on to a fine career in the NFL with the San Francisco 49ers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. He retired last year. The next individual I would like to recommend would be Tremaine Thomas of East Chambers, also a 2008 graduate of East Chambers. Tremaine left East Chambers, went to Arkansas, University of Arkansas. 2 times All Southeast Conference, 1 time Yahoo Sports All-American defensive back. Tremaine went on to play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. After the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he went on to play the arena ball with the Iowa Barnstormers. Tremaine, after his career in college, returned to school, got his bachelor's degree from University of Arkansas in criminal justice. After that, he went to Midwestern State University, where he obtained a master's degree in sports administration. Tremaine then got into the coaching career. And if any of you are Baltimore Raven fans, you know Lamar Jackson. He happened to be in Louisville coaching Lamar in 1 year, his last year in college. Tremaine is now the defensive back coach with the Missouri State college team, where he's been for the past 3 years. Tremaine, on paper, may be the greatest athlete ever come through East Chambers as far as football. In 2008, he was the Beaumont Super Bowl Defensive Player of the Year. He was Port Arthur News Most Valuable Football Player in Southeast Texas, Golden Triangle, All-State Football Player, All-State Basketball Player, and not very much else I can say about the young man. I'm presenting this proposal and hoping and praying and asking that they will consider us recognizing these young men for their accomplishments and the things that they have done, so that some of the young people can see what these men have done. And when they drive on these roads, they will have the ambition to try to make themselves be on that level. Everyone can't get a street name after them, but there's no need, there's nothing wrong with trying. And that's the reason why I'm presenting this proposal to the Commissioner's Court. And that's basically on that part. Now, the second and last part of this is,
You had 3
I know
minutes.
this will cost county
So,
money. My last thing is, we don't want the county to pay any money for this. Whatever the cost for the signs and the labor, the community of Winnie Stoll, East Chambers community will take care of that, so that there will be no funds from the county to be done or used for this, and there will be no complaints, or at least I hope that. I ask for all you to pray on that. Wish us the best of luck. I'm gonna leave it in the hands of the Commissioner's Court.
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff.
And we'll get the commissioner to work with Road and Bridge Department. There's a process you gotta go through. So thank you, though. We appreciate it. Thank you, Jesse. All right, Katsuki Ohashi. Hope I got that close. We'll wait till the agenda item comes up. All right, Bobby, you got a presentation you'd like to make?
Wait,
Don's here.
yeah, but we're waiting on, is he here yet, Don?
Oh, you waiting on one? Well, we can wait. We'll be here a little while.
Wait till 10 o'clock. good.
Okay, I'll do it. Bye. All right, 1.1, discuss and consider resolution supporting creation of Lee College branch location in Mont Belvieu in partnership with the City of Mont Belvieu and Barboursville ISD. And I'm actually serving on that committee. The primary purpose of Lee College is to provide quality instruction for students through a variety of programs designed to prepare students for success in higher education and employment. Whereas Lee College provides a broad-based program of extension courses, distance education, adult education, continuing education, and community service. Whereas Lee College ranks among the top 20% of public schools in Texas for least expensive tuition and least debt for graduating students. Whereas advantages of community colleges likely offer numerous, including low cost tuition and fees, campuses close to home, small class sizes. Whereas Bartlesville Independent School District, Lee College, City of Mont Bellevue and Chambers County have come together to seek the creation of a Lee College branch in Mont Bellevue. Before be resolved that the members of Chambers County Commissioners Court do hereby support the effort to establish a Lee College branch in Mont Bellevue, Texas. Pledge to assist this effort however possible.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gore, second by Commissioner Hammond. Looks like this is gonna happen. There's a lot of work being put into it by the school district. According to there'll be election, according to Dr. Poole, that we can do this, we can build the building we need without going up on taxes for the Northfield School District.
Yeah.
George, anything you want to say from the,
I did,
Go, let's took my that's because we didn't want you talking.
Yes, so I'm also on the steering committee with the judge, and one thing that has come out of that committee is making sure that the people on that committee, because we have some Baytown people, understand that we want the best for the county, not just for Barbers Hill. East Chambers and Anahuac have both been mentioned, and it would be a great benefit to our kids that are going to go to a secondary school to have a campus right there at the Barbers Hill site. And like the judge says, we would do this without having to raise taxes for the taxpayers of Barbers Hill ISD, and it's a win-win. Hopefully we can get everything resolved and done and ready to go.
Yeah, and the Barbers Hill School District kids will get a reduced tuition, and hopefully those in the county, maybe not as reduced as the Barbers Hill ISD because the taxpayers that are paying for it, but they reduced for those that live in the county also.
Correct.
So,
We are working on that.
George, would you explain to those watching this stuff how that tax will work without raising tax?
So, and again, it's a good question, Commissioner, and I wouldn't even try to answer it only because there's got a lot of stuff that's moving parts to it, and Dr. Poole would be the one to answer the question. But at the end of the day, it's going to be something that because of the foundation we have and the Barbers Hill Foundation and the size of it, there is some help that can come from that toward this. And the other thing, the best thing about this, as far as Barbers Hill school board member, is it's not part of recapture. Recapture is us sending money back to the state. They dictate where that goes. We average about $10 million a year in my 20-year tenure on that board. And that's money that, in my opinion, should be staying here for our county, not going wherever the state decides it needs to go. So that's, for me as a board member, that's a big piece of it, that the recapture stays here.
Yeah.
There is no recapture, I should say.
When I was on the board, we were sending 50 cents out of every dollar.
Yes, sir. 50 cents out of every. We got it down to 24. Now we're back up to 30, Commissioner. And we're hoping to keep it there or reduce it.
All right, any other questions, comments? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 1.2, discuss, consider approving lease agreement between Chambers County and Barbers Hill ISD. County use of 10 acres on Eagle Drive. We've been using this a long time. Have y'all, as school board, approved this?
Yes, sir. We gave blessing to make sure that all this went through. And again, it's something that the school board is very proud to be able to do for the county because it's right on Eagle Drive. It's 10 acres that Commissioner Hammond's able to utilize for practices. I think every square inch of the school district is used for some type of practice during certain times of the year. And this is just an extra piece.
County property, school district property.
Yes,
city
sir.
Property.
Yes, sir. Anywhere they can put fine grass.
Which 10 acres is it, Rick?
Right in
Where
front
the
of
old
the
tennis courts are on Eagle Drive.
Baseball field.
Baseball.
the old baseball field building.
Okay.
Baseball field behind it.
So,
We've used it a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, anything.
no, we can try to clean it up, get a little more use out of it. So,
Motion by Commissioner Hammond,
Second.
second by Commissioner Tice. Any other questions, comments? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 1.3, discuss the canvassing November 8th, 2022 joint general election results. Ms. Hospital, good morning.
Good morning. What a great election we had. We did not have any issues at some of our neighboring county.
Congratulations.
Thank you. One of the results that I'd like to point out is that we had lots of positive feedback on the paper, on being able to put a piece of paper in a machine, have it come back out, and make sure that the voter could see that their selections were actually in print So we had a lot of positives about that. Unfortunately for the taxpayers, that paper is very expensive. It's an expensive part of the election. So that's just part of the cost of doing business there. At this time, Judge, I am very proud that Leanne Martin has really done an outstanding job on helping manage elections, and I'm going to turn it over to her to give you some statistics out of it.
Leanne, you'll come up to the microphone, please,
You know,
so we can get you for the record.
how to get our babies trained here.
Yeah.
Now let's get them into the fire.
Good morning, y'all.
Good morning, man.
Can you hear?
Pull it up close to me. It's on.
Can you hear me now? A little bit? Good morning, y'all. Okay. So yes, so the November 8th election, we had 46% in-person turnout overall countywide. Our lowest percent for voting precinct was precinct 15 at 35%. Everybody else was above that, so really good turnout.
Okay.
For limited, provisional, and mail-in votes counted, we had 324. And then for people that voted in person election day, we had 4,969. And early voting, we had 10,487. So good turnout there.
Mhm.
Ms. Heather, did you want me to go over?
One other comment, it was, we used the Code Community Building this year as a first time use for early voting. And it was a great success. We look forward to using the new Code Building, in 23 and 24. Making sure we're on track there. So that'll be a great release. Goss Library, we've outgrown Goss Library. So we're going to be looking for another location to serve the north side of 10 for early voting as well. And we definitely have outgrown the 146 area and the JP courtroom. And looking forward that there will be a community building in 2024. That'd be March of 24. So you're on notice, gentlemen, that that's expected to be a huge turnout. And so we want to make sure that we are prepared for it as a county. Other than that,
Yeah,
you
so
have the numbers in front of you.
Yes, so we have the official canvas, and I just wanted to, our voter registration numbers as of right now, and we can add 1,000 to that because we have DPS applications coming in daily. Our total voter registration right now, and it went up significantly from the November 8th election, was or is this morning, so sorry, 33,313 registered voters in the county.
Good.
So.
I'll tell you what I liked about it is would you taking the candidates that are unopposed off of the list, it made it so much easier to get through the list. And so you voted all the way down. It's not as much time consuming going through each one. And I apologize for that. It's very easy.
Thank you. I called that the ego bill and the legislature because I said that really the only people that really want to know their numbers are the candidates, but you know, and I know that some voters were disappointed that they couldn't undervote somebody, that they didn't want to give them their vote. But yes, especially in the larger counties, that does help time in front of the machine. And we had basically 24 screens to go through. Harris County had, I think, 98 screens to go through. So it'll just tell you that it does save time with that, and that includes the unopposed. So
Saves with voter fatigue.
With that being said, I mean, did the majority of the people vote all the way down the ticket?
yes.
Check everybody
Yes.
compared to in the past?
Well, I don't know if we can, it's kind of hard to get that statistic, but because we're growing so fast, we're not using the same number of voters every time to compare that to.
Yes, ma'am.
But I think we're very blessed in Chambers County that the Republican Party has dominated through the primaries, and so that it made it real easy for us in the general.
Want to talk about the precincts?
So one of the outcomes, because of the number of registered voters, we had a lot of provisional balloting is, it used to be, we want everybody to feel like they could cast a vote. It's changed dramatically. In the past, we used to say, yeah, you can vote, but it's not going to count. We don't say that any longer. Because we are connected with DPS, we found some errors along the way where people swore up and down that they registered to vote when they renewed their driver's license or changed their driver's license. And yes, they did. And we had some date back as early as January, and it just was in cyber world somewhere, and it never came through to us through the Secretary of State's portal or election management system is how we get those. And so we did have a large number, but if you vote provisionally and you're not registered, that provisional envelope automatically becomes a voter registration. So when Leanne says that we went up dramatically, it was because we had a lot of people that move here daily, as we all know, from different counties, and voted provisionally, and obviously these subdivisions that you approve every commissioner's court, this growth pattern is going to maintain. One issue we've already seen is that we are already going to have to split precincts again, even though we just redistricted this year. The maximum amount of voters you can have in a precinct is 5,000. And we've already crossed that line in several precincts. So we're going to have to end up splitting or creating new precincts again. And you can do that by law in the odd numbered year. So we will be bringing that to you early in 23 to help avoid voter confusion. The earlier we get that done, the better it is that these voters will now be in a new precinct number. Let me give you just an example. Precinct 8, which is the Cove area, so to speak, south of Interstate 10, 565. That whole area now needs to be split again. And if you've driven that road lately, you will see that those rice fields are now almost completely filled with subdivisions. So precinct 8 will be split again. So that's just coming up right after the first of the year.
So the voting precincts don't be
The
the
voting precincts. And of course, since we've gone to countywide voting, it doesn't affect that you have to vote at your precinct on election day, which I think is probably one of the greatest things that's happened with Chambers County in the last decade.
One of the greatest things.
One of the greatest
Motion
things.
for
Hey, Heather, I got a question.
And-
Hang
and
on a
I'd
minute.
like to
Hello,
ask-
man. Motion by Commissioner Gore.
Thank
Second by Commissioner Bama, go ahead.
One area of concern that in the Winnie Stoll area is that we have moved that voting location several times. I know it creates voter confusion. Voters go to the annex, they go to the new library. We've moved it now back to the old library. It's really a good building. And I did that to avoid having to take up the community building because that's the only large area of space for the public to use during basically a 3-week span. We may reevaluate that for 2024 and have to go back to the community building. But anyway, that's all I have to say, unless y'all have questions, really.
Yeah,
Question.
on the precincts, we've got showing underneath precinct 4, we got mud 1, mud 3. And are all 3 of our muds in precinct 4? You got precinct 4, 4 mud 1, 4 mud 3, and so on. And because I don't think they're all in the same precinct.
So wonderful question.
It's a wonderful question.
So,
We love this mud district.
I
Go ahead,
love it,
Leanne.
yes. So we have a new mud district, and it's Riceland Mud District. It hasn't been created yet. It's just in the middle of a field. They had to have the election in order for the mud district to be approved so they can move forward. City of Mont Bellevue approved them November of 2021, and then they had to then join us in the November election so that their district could be established. So we have Riceland Mud, and it's in 4 and in 18. And there's Mud District 1, 2, and 3, and then there's a management district, and the management district is all of Mud 1, 2, and 3. So there's 4 districts, precinct 4 and 18.
Well, Mud One is actually, it encompasses
Yes.
South Winds and Country
Yes,
Meadows and all of that.
yep.
right?
So the appraisal district has them coded as 74, 75, 76, and 77. Your mud district is, I believe, 63. So there's different codes, but there
So to be
it's Riceland
Riceland Mud
right?
1, Riceland Mud 2.
Okay, so all of these are
Instead-
Riceland muds.
Yes, sir. Instead of Chambers County Mud 1.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was confusing to me.
It
I've
is
been trying to
confusing.
figure it out and I
We agree.
couldn't do it.
All right, any other questions, comments? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Congratulations on the great election, lady.
Thank you, Heather.
All right, it's 9:59. Don's everybody here?
Yeah.
All right. Bobby. Turn it over to you.
Don, you come forward, please.
Front and center.
In 1945, Chambers County voted to have a unit system for road and bridge maintenance concern. They hired R.T. Beachback as county engineer. And then he served until 1986. Don Brandon served in 2011. That's a long time, There's more than 2 engineers. And we go to different conferences and engineers are like fruit basket turnover. So that speaks well for Chambers County and some continuity we have there. Sarah had a meeting back in October. And at that meeting, they voted to make Don an honorary member of the Texas Association of County Engineers and Road Administrators Institute honorary membership award to Donald Brandon, Chambers County retired October 2022. So y'all get your pictures right now, and what I want to do, I got a little history about Don.
All right.
In trouble.
Very bad.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't get.
Maybe crop it up.
Okay, yeah. All right, Don. All right.
Daddy Don.
In 1986, 21 county engineers, road administrators got together and said, we need to have an association where we can share, we can look out for each other. And Don was one of those 21 members. That's 35 years ago. And he was one of those persons that was there. And so they formed the Texas Association of County Engineers, and Road Administrators, we call it the SARA. And so they formed that, and Don was there. And during his tenure with the SARA, he was a founding member. He was editor of the SARA newsletter, a Roadrunner from 1988 to 1995. He was president in 1992. He was chairman of the golf tournament and vendor registration, and he was the best at that we've ever had. I'll tell you what, we met a year at the Minger. But because of Donald, we had to move out of the Minger because there wasn't enough room for him, for all the vendors he had. And he did that, he did the golf tournament. I mean, everybody still brags on him what he did. In fact, you got a bucket one time that says if you want something done, give to you or something like that, yeah. Bail out award, what it was. And then And then also, in 1995 and 2008, he was the Sarah Engineer of the Year.
Yes.
And so, it's been a legacy, and I fell in right behind him. I was his assistant from 98 to 06. And then when he retired in 2011, they asked me to be the engineer at that time.
And then you retired and kept coming back, kept coming back.
Go ahead, but, the engineer, county engineers are already employed by the county, but it's an appointed position. It's not, it's an elected position, but you're appointed as that engineer. So, I was proud to serve with him, and not only as assistant county engineer, but also, Sarah at time, and it's a great organization. We went, with Joe P went with us, we had one of our foremen go this year. The two assistants went with us, Zach and Natalie, and we learned things there. Well, we brought back all kinds of good ideas and lots of good vendors, mainly because of Don's history. Yeah, so congratulations.
Frank?
Let me just say that, I learned long ago that, good judgment comes from experience, and, experience comes from bad judgment. But, also I found out that good, judgment comes from networking with your peers. And the Texas Association of County Engineers and Road Administrators was that peer group that was so helpful to me. And we'll say over the years, the Commissioners Court supported me by letting me go to the County Engineers Association, being associated with them. So inadvertently, they supported Sarah as well. So I have to thank the Commissioners Court for all those over the years. I appreciate that. Well, thank you.
Let's get a family, let's get a family.
One thing, also, during this tenure, one year we had the National Association of County Engineers meet in Fort Worth. And Don was very instrumental in having that done, getting everything going. Come on, just go.
So in other words, you're a good party planner.
Don, get in the middle.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. It's like 6, so there's about to be.
That's a good one again.
Got an engineer out there, parade.
Need to get a slide rule out and do that?
You bet, thank you, Don. I will be sending a copy of all this presentation thing to Sarah. They'll put it in the newsletter.
Okay.
I appreciate Don very much for helping me. I still call on him, and we still swap ideas.
BJ, go ahead and stay up there. Let's get you taken care of. 5.2, discuss and consider TGS CP 6363. Tax abatement amendment, pro chapter 31 agreement. Do that.
Thank you. Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. What you have before you is a reconciliation, if you will, in response to amend the tax abatement that was previously approved by the court, but never entered into because of various circumstances. And so the 381 agreement, the proposal wraps up, if you will, integrates a number of items. As noted in the cover letter, TGS CP 6363 LLC requests to amend the tax abatement that was previously approved by the court. They note the project that's going to be included. This is a DC1, it's a Class A 1.2 million square foot facility that they've negotiated a long-term tenant lease with. The job creation items are noted on the cover letter. The tenant, as noted in the cover letter, currently has a substantial presence in the county. They are requesting a 10-year 60% tax abatement contingent upon working and negotiating with the county to achieve several items that are noted in this 381 agreement. If you look at the cover letter, the 3 bullet points and 3 projects that are associated with the proposal that are contingent upon completion, if you will, tax abatements contingent upon completion. First of which is to fully fund the expansion of FM 1405 north of Highway 99. In the dimensions that are noted there, the improvement contribution, if you will, is going to exceed $3 million above the TxDOT required improvements. TGS has also agreed to fund up to $130,000 for Barrel Ranch detention improvements. And then lastly, enter into an interlocal agreement for 24/7 Chambers County Sheriff's Office Industrial Patrol. TGS and CCID number 1 would fully fund the first year of the patrol. And as the tax base for CCID 1 grows, a cost sharing ratio would be established. So the second page that in the exhibit that you have illustrates what the economic impact is. And again, this is just simply a model based upon the capital investment that's cited, approximately $60 million. Going to be substantial tenant improvements associated with the lease. But you'll note, per the request of the court, we illustrate what the project value is going to look like over a 10-year period. And then the impact on revenue to the county, abatement to TGS 6363, and then annual inventory estimates that would include it. Also, we note an estimate with respect to the school equalization tax fund that's been requested by the county shows that potentially about $172,000 over term would be generated based upon the current tax rate for the SET. So the agreements, there's some definitions in here that address some of the requirements that are noted. And on page 1 of the agreement, it just talks about the lineage for administrative trail for reconciling the agreement that was previously approved. There are definitions of import. There are community improvements that define the restoration of the Barrel Ranch detention pond. There's a contribution that is defined as a community improvements contribution. That's $130,000. The community improvement contribution reimbursement, which would come back from the county. And then the interlocal agreement, which is very important, integrated here. So Commissioner Combs has been working on behalf of the court, along with TGS, to consummate this agreement. The interlocal agreement for the sheriff's deputies are still in draft form, but for the purpose of today, to present, the proposal, talk about the things that are integrated in the proposal, and then answer any questions to move forward with an approval. And then obviously everything's contingent upon completing the interlocal agreement. The projects, there's a construction covenant that is noted on page. Let's see. 5 of the agreement that talks about the public improvements, the community improvements, and then the interlocal agreement. So I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have, and Commissioner Combs can speak to all the particulars with respect to negotiation.
All right, Judge, I'll make a motion that we approve this contingent upon the completion of the 3 items.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Tice. Questions?
I just want to make one comment for BJ. BJ, we left the inventory blank within the agreement. I really like to have those filled in before they come into the court.
Yes. Yeah, it's an estimate there. It's just a draft. This particular retailer is going to meet or exceed any sort of expectations.
Well, I know who it is, and it will be good.
A guaranteed inventory of
I think that's what he said in his cover letter, but when we go into the agreement, it's not on the agreement.
This agreement on the deputies is covering benefits, it's covering everything.
Yeah, TGS would, or actually CCID number 1 would fund $850,000 in the first year. And we've worked very closely with the sheriff. That's enough to fund 5 full-time deputies and buy equipment and everything, fund them for a year.
Yeah, it's actually what we budgeted, wasn't it, there?
Yes, yeah, and we did budget it, so this would actually repay it. So they would fund 100% of that. We are still working on what we do in the second and the third year. As it is presented in draft form right now, it's a 3-year agreement. Year 2, the 850 actually drops because the initial year buys the equipment. And so then you kind of amortize that out afterwards. It drops to 670,000, I think. So we're working at doing possibly we're going to actually meet after court. I just got an email this morning that shows a draft, because as the abatements roll off, the county's going to be getting more tax money in. So CCID one feels that we need to work a schedule where that amount is reduced over time as some abatements are working off. That part is still in process.
And that's fair.
Yes, fair, yeah.
And, you know, I'm proud of you and TGS working together to get things done. Because we all know we have issues in the industry and homeowners and everything we can do to make that easier and better for homeowners.
No, it is. It's great for the community. It's good for everything. And this patrol will be focusing primarily on traffic control, which we need very much in that area. You know, I mean, they will answer other calls, be there for backups, but they will be dedicated in the industrial area, you know, which is basically Kilgore Road, Kilgore Parkway South, you know, in from 2354 and right in all of the industrial area. And in addition to this, CCID number 2 and KTN will also be funding pretty much, well, not as much, but still in the same ballpark, you know, based on tax base. They will be funding, which will pay for daytime patrol, you know, additional daytime patrolmen that will be in there. So during the day, we'll have 2 additional patrols, and then we'll have 1 overnight, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So these will be like a DOT type, sure, okay.
And the sheriff can speak more to patrolling than me, but.
Well, I greatly appreciate that, appreciate the effort, everybody working together. Much-
Well, and I appreciate TGS and CCID one for stepping up to the plate and
Thank you.
taking the lead. You know, the original proposal was actually somewhat a little bit less than this, but they stepped up and they wanted to do the full 850,000, which was not, like I say, in the original plan. It actually raised the bar.
Appreciate their effort.
Thank you, John.
What about James?
Well, where is James? There he is back there. Hello, James.
All right, I got a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? Here none, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 5.3. Discuss and consider TGS CP 4407 Grand Parkway LLC tax abatement application. DJ.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners. What you have for you is a proposal request for tax abatement between the county and TGS CP 4407 Grand Parkway LLC for its development for a project called DC2, or Cedarport DC2, located at 4407 East Grand Parkway. This building is a 496,000 square foot facility, which would provide a rail access, rail served project. Currently in negotiations with tenant Plug Power. Plug Power is a player in the hydrogen infrastructure cluster, if you will. It's another addition to the hydrogen cluster that's growing in James County currently. You know, James County is home to Air Products and others who have significant hydrogen capacity that's coming through in the county, and Plug Power would be an excellent addition to this. You'll note that the tenant notes that job creation is going to be substantial. This is a reconciliation or consolidation project. They currently have grown their capacity through acquisitions in the Houston market. They would be bringing those jobs here with additional new job creation associated with this project. There's some guaranteed inventory estimates that are there because of equipment and the like, which can be refined as we work through the negotiations. Some additional substantial leasehold improvements that are noted through here. Consistent with the proposal that the court just approved, what is being contemplated that in addition to consideration of this 10-year 60% tax abatement, TGS is willing to propose to move forward with additional community improvements. In this case, to fund up to a certain amount for future beach city projects as noted in this. And then also the tax abatement would be contingent upon this fully executed in a local agreement for the public safety officers that are noted through here. Just as an aside, what is moving forward and has been contemplated by the court over the last several years because of the growth in TGS CCID number 1 is that this agreement would be contextualized within a broader development agreement to collapse this building and others for future consideration for the court, so that to provide the mechanisms to be able to have this collaboration that has emerged because between the CCID 1 and TGS and the county going forward. So what is being proposed today is that the court accept this application and then move forward with further negotiations to be presented to the court at a later date.
So moved.
Second.
By Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Combs. Question?
We just got some work to do on it, but glad to have them here.
Aaron, one of the things we need to do, you and Lindsay, is, make sure we earmark these funds as they come in for these big city projects. So they don't get lost in the makeup. I got a motion second. Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. 5.4, discuss and consider the phone flyer storage project tax abatement. BJ.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. You may recall that the court accepted an application from Cone Flower Storage Project LLC for their proposed 170 megawatt battery energy storage project that would be located on Hatchville Road. This facility would operate in the ERCOT market and provide grid level stabilization over the next 30+ years. The idea is to move forward with some recommendations per the ask for the court, if you will. We remember the court, we had some discussion about having the tax abatement be under consideration, be front loaded. So what you have is a model and recommendations based upon elements associated with this project in the industry sector. In the letter to the judge, just a factoid or two, that utility scale battery energy storage systems, or BESS as they're known, continues to grow at a rate of 196% in 2021. And this is according to the American Clean Power Association. As of June 2022, there were over 180 projects in this whole realm of 12.5 gigawatts. And then Chambers County is emerging as an area of interest of that, not only for Cone Flower, but other entities that are seeking to site within the grid here. The profit, the way these entities make money are to purchase power at a price certain and then sell it at a higher price, sort of like the stock market. You buy low, sell high. And so the idea is that they would serve as peaker plants once the demand is there. Project Cone Flower, is noted in the cover letter, is one of 3 of these projects that are currently looking at the county for consideration. The proposed capital investment is about $136 million. And what is being recommended for the court's approval today is to approve the Cone Flower application that was presented at a previous court, and then consider a 10-year tax abatement at the 60 or 65% abatement level. So looking at the model that's attached to the proposal, we're looking at the hard cost of 136 of $105 million. What's cited here is potential revenue to the county of 1.8 million over term. And speaking with Commissioner Hammond and looking at the way to how to front load this and provide some relief because of the nature of the project, is to consider entering to fixed pilot or payments in lieu of taxes that are noted in this model. There are several ways that the county can look at this. We can, calculate fixed payments over term or front load the payments that are cited through here. But what's illustrated in the model that's presented to you is simply, 2 fixed pilots of $121,000, and then a true up mechanism, to assure that they reach the proposed abatement of 60%. Yeah, also noted here is, as requested by the court, is the impact or revenue generation for the school equalization tax fund that's noted all the way in the right column. In the first 2 years, that would be $250,000, $253,000. And then the second 10 years, that would be $206,000 for an aggregate of about $459,000 over term. The net revenue, and this is all assuming that the tax rate is constant, if you will, over the 20-year term, given that the life cycle of this project would be 30 years, is about $5.3 million. So what's proposed to the court today is to approve the abatement application and then move forward with refining the pilot agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion
BJ,
by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Gore, with Commissioner.
appreciate you laying it out like that, because I don't think a lot of people realize how much these abatements and getting this industry in here means to our schools, because East Chambers, Anahuac, I know it's a lot more than what it is for Barbers Hills, a huge part of their budget, the tax that they get. And it is just, the more we can do this and grow our industry, the more it helps them with their budget and stuff that they can do within facilities and stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay, I'm a little confused. Help me out here. Which, we got 2 different proposals, it looks like, before us. Which one are we going with? Am I reading that right on two different charts?
No, the second one should be the second 10 years.
It's the second 10
It
years.
just goes to tax revenue.
Oh, okay, so
Yes.
that's what we're looking at. Yeah, so we'll say 60%, not a 65%.
That's correct.
And do these batteries really last 30 years?
They say upwards to 40. They're going to change the technologies. I mean, the configuration within which they're placed will remain the same. Connexes essentially, but the batteries in and of themselves. What we've learned is that the technologies that are used for these, or change whatever modality there are, it's used for the lithium transfer or retention. But yeah, they expect that these configurations are going to last up to 35, 40 years.
Okay, and you ran this chart with a 2% annual depreciation,
That's correct.
but in all reality, it probably shouldn't depreciate, should it?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is just to illustrate a modest, yes.
All right, any other questions?
Well, there's a couple of things. I did try to do a little research. So these things help stabilize the grid during peak times. So they have this unmanned facility, so doesn't really put any burden on traffic or employees or any of that. So pretty low maintenance as far as the county is concerned.
We actually have at least one more looking, right?
2 more.
All right, anything else? Those in favor?
Right.
Opposed? Motion carries. 5.5, discuss consider Tamika Semiconductor Materials Texas Inc. Chapter 31 proposal, and Mr. Oskowski is here. With BJ.
Yes, we also have, I think, Devin Elliott, who's online and prepared to comment if there are
Good
any
morning.
questions that come up with in the presentation. What you have before you is a proposal from Samika Semiconductor Materials Texas for proposed project in the Cedar Point Industrial Park. The foundation's been working with, on behalf of the county, with Samika or the principals to joint venture between two entities since February of this year. It was on the project code, Project Draco. What this is it's a manufacturing facility that would make or manufacture components as part of the semiconductor supply chain. It's a proposed capital investment of $250 million for improvements, land and infrastructure and like. What they're proposing or asking the court to consider is a 60% tax abatement over 10 years. What they provided in the handout is a general description of the proposed project and a list of the major components, and then the maps that depict the location within the county, but specifically within Cedar Port. In negotiations, because of other projects, I mean, Cedar Port is actually targeting placing these kinds of projects in a certain sector of the park so as to minimize impact on the community and the like. These entities have worked and reported to DRC a few times. They've gone through the essential vetting, if you will, related to not only the process, but potential impact on the county and the community at large. These chemicals are related to the chemical manufacturing and associated with semiconductor industry. It's very important. This is sort of a first step integrating Chambers County into that supply chain associated with the semiconductor industry. And I think you've got 2 exhibits as to where the proposed location for this project that would be located in the park. This would be initially the first phase of the project. That would encumber approximately 14 acres. So it's consistent with policy. The intent is today to present the proposal to the court, to answer any questions, and then start the negotiation process related to the 60% tax payment.
I move to accept the abatement.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Tides. Question? Is this our first of this?
Of this sort, directly, yes. It's very important, again, consistent with the growth in industry at large, but further the diversification of industry sectors in the county.
And I will say, I do like this location a whole lot better.
Yeah. All right, got a motion second. Any other questions, comments, those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, BJ.
Thank you.
Thank you, BJ.
Happy Thanksgiving, BJ.
Thank you.
Yep, happy Thanksgiving for sure.
All right, let's go to Health and Welfare 14.1, discuss consider update of Chambers County Health Department. Morning, Mary Beth. Kevin.
So I'm gonna actually let my, the EPI and the communicable disease program take this one. But I do have a couple of public comments, so we'll fill out a form, just following up on my dad. First of all, I think the county's was very fortunate to have his leadership over all those years. He's very understated. He would never toot his own horn. So I was really proud today that we got to see him being recognized by that association. And I was also fortunate. He was a huge reason, besides a judge and a couple other people, that I came to work for the county. He was a huge influencer for me to come work, and I was fortunate to work his last 5 years, my first 5 years with the county.
Well, we're glad to have him.
Yes. Second thing, I'll fill out a form. Second thing, last week was Nurse Practitioner Week, National Nurse Practitioner Week, and we're fortunate to have 3 that work for the county, live in the county, and take care of our population in the county. So we're very fortunate, as well as there's many who work in Chambers County and all kinds of facilities and settings. And so I just wanted to take a moment to recognize them. Before I hand this over to Kevin, he literally just texted me and told me his voice went out, and so I would have to take it, but totally don't believe that at all. Commissioner Gore reached out and wanted to know, just kind of have an update. I'm sure you've all seen on the news this triple threat that's currently occurring across the country with RSV, the flu, and COVID. It's that time of year again, it's winter time. And so I think Commissioner Gore just kind of wanted us to kind of give an update on what it looks like in the county. And I'll just kind of preface it by saying that COVID-19 is still a reportable condition. It's still happening out there. You don't hear as much about it, but as a county, we still are required to take that information and track it. Flu is not a reportable condition, but we have great healthcare providers in the county, our great school districts who provide that data to us, as well as the hospitals. So we can track that in trends, but it's not mandatory that we do that. We're fortunate. RSV is a different story. Sarah can, wherever Sarah, she can tell you also. We kind of, if there's an outbreak, we get that data, or if we have a huge hospitalization outbreak, we can get that data. Other than that, it's very hard for us to ascertain that unless people self-report, daycare self-report, but we've been seeing those numbers on the rise probably for the past 2 years. And it started with COVID and people being indoors and, you know, just this lack of, I'm going to say, interaction. So Kevin prepared this, you know, he's always highly prepared. We'll get him to pare that down and kind of give you some idea of the numbers in the county right now on respiratory illnesses.
Yeah, I was in Texas Children's last week with grandbaby, and their emergency room was full of kids. I mean, we were there at like 2:30, full, left at 10:30, still full the whole family there. So
Super dangerous for kids under the age of 1. I mean, you know, so that's why we're just recommended. We'll push more information out too to, you know, don't wait, take them to the hospital, especially under the age of 1.
Hi, Kevin.
Good morning.
Voice sounds okay.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I was frying my turkeys and y'all interrupted me, so I gotta go.
I've been fighting it for going on 2 weeks now. So it was unbelievable.
So I'm gonna give you a little quick overview of what we've been working on at the health department for. I know COVID's been, I don't know, I lost track. That's why I look this old with all this gray in my beard, because it wasn't that way when I first got here. But anyway, so as Mary Beth was saying, our cases overall for the last, I'm gonna go 6 weeks out. So from October the 2nd through November the 12th is when we really started tracking flu. So I'm gonna try to pair those two together, flu and COVID and RSV a little bit with that. So our COVID cases remain low over the past 6 weeks. There has been an increase reported to Chambers County Public Health, but most of those numbers have been due to an outbreak at a long-term care facility. So we expect that those numbers will increase or continue to kind of increase over the winter season, but the positivity rate for the region as a whole is trending down. So that's Health Service Region 6-5 South. It's like 16 counties in this region. Over the past 6 weeks, and then, of course, we talked about that already. So let's go. The hospitalization rate has been kind of low. So it's about an average of 2 per week overall. The increase the last couple of, actually probably last week, was due to the long-term care facility. So that's why there was an increase there. And I'll get this little packet out to everybody once we kind of shore it up here. So like Mary Beth said, so please remember that COVID is still active in the community, even though we may see the trend downward. that they're normally during this season is going to kind of trend a little bit up. So of course, we still want to continue to do the same things we did prior to COVID, at least hand washing, cover your cough. If you're sick, stay home and don't go to work or don't be around people.
I've seen several people, I'm sorry to interrupt you,
No.
that have tested positive, especially around the Arboretum, with no symptoms with COVID. So I mean, that is something people need to be aware of.
Yes. Let me see. So I'm gonna go to flu. So flu is a big thing, and we kind of projected this before flu season that the flu season was this is gonna be a high flu season for us. And so our flu levels are, of course, on the rise here in Chambers County and in the region itself and this is consistent to the trends seen at the state and national levels. Compared to the 2021-22 season, flu is appearing to be hitting a little earlier than before. Last year it was probably February, March time frame. This year it's late August, early September. So we will continue to see what we call ILI or influenza-like illnesses and flu A and flu B over the winter season. The 6 week average counts of ILI it's an average count for us for Chambers County is 655 reporting. So and then there's flu A is 198 weekly and flu B is 26 weekly. The percent of increase for ILI is right around, it's a big increase, 218% for that 6 week increase. So starting back from October to November. Like I said, this age group, we have this one age group that I saw here. It's age 5 to 14. That's been a big increase for those kiddos, which goes back to say we've had some outbreaks at some schools also over this flu season. Let's go here. I'm just going to skip ahead for most of this. Mary Beth talked about RSV. Like she said, it's really not anything that we can see as far as a report. It's not reported to us only in an outbreak, and especially in a hospital, those who are hospitalized. So what we get from the region or we get from the state, and there is an increase in that too. And that's included in this packet, but we really don't, I can't say I really follow it a whole lot other than what we get from the state, because we haven't had anything reported to us here in Chambers County. Not recent, I have to ask Sarah that one, but not that I've seen. So how do we mitigate this? What have we done to kind of help mitigate the spread of some of these, which is vaccine preventable diseases? So the immunizations or clinical health services team has vaccinated 239 flu vaccinations from October the 2nd to November the 12th. A total of 50 COVID vaccinations have been given from that time period. We've conducted an employee health and wellness drive-through point of dispensing in October and vaccinated 53 employees. Then we also did what we call Boo to the Flu with OmniPoint. We partnered with them, and that was a good event, and we vaccinated 23 people there. We held a mobile flu vaccination clinic for Anahuac ISD with 58 patients, or really the staff there. Barbers Hill, we did 24. Trinity Bay, 13. Then here at the courthouse, we did 10. Chambers County Liberty Navigation District, 4. And then we had our Think Pink conference where we did 4 patients. So those numbers kind of, some seem high, some seem kind of small, but at least we are offering flu vaccinations, and we have been since the beginning of flu season. So we do actually, of course, we thank the court for that, thank the judge, and for allowing us to actually purchase that flu vaccine. We get it from the county, and then plus we get what's called our TVFC, Texas Vaccine for Children's, and then our ASN, the adult vaccinations also. And so overall, that's the end of this little thing. So overall, of course, we know this respiratory viruses are out there, and we continue to monitor those viruses. And all I can say is, like anything else, if you're sick, stay home. Don't be out sick, but also take care of yourself. Wash down those surfaces. It's the same thing we learned from COVID. We're just like anything else. We just put that out there and say, hey, continue to do those things. and make sure you stay healthy.
Well, I appreciate that, man. See, because I mean, a lot of people in our building over there has been having long-term effects from COVID. A lot of ear stuff and I mean, it's unbelievable. They're months out from having COVID. But they're still having to go to the doctor 4, 5, 6 times because their ears are still plugged up like sinus. And it's just long-term effects from COVID. So we just need to be aware. The hospital, the talk with Ron and them, like the judge was saying, everything is just packed. There's hardly any bed for kids. And I listen to the scanner every now and then, and they're having to bypass hospitals because they're on internal disaster and stuff like that. So we need to bear in mind that if something happens, you may not be in this area in the hospital around your family. I mean, so just be cautious during the holidays and everything like that.
Yeah, those hospital numbers that Kevin reported about, like the two and that's, the hospitals that are in the county.
Right.
So, it's not including Houston Methodist or other places where people go, we don't actually have those numbers, but we do know that the beds are, full with respiratory like illnesses, whether in flu's hit Chambers County hard, office is hard. I mean, we know that it's hit everybody.
I appreciate that, Nick. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary Beth, Kevin.
Thank you.
Right, no action on 14-1.
We have 5 minutes.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, we're gonna take in at 10:39. All right, Timber County Commission Court come to order after recess at 10:57 a.m. 5.1, discuss, consider accepting bid in the amount of $1,067,112.90 from Quality Tower Services Incorporated for the ARPA fund construction of the new communication tower at landfill. Sam, good morning.
Good morning. So item is pretty clear in and of itself. I will say this was a little bit over budget, which we anticipated. The original quote for the landfill cell communications tower was $840,000, but it was, I guess, collected 2 years ago before the world became what it has become. And so this is not surprising to me that we are where we are. This is the low bidder. We had some conversation about whether or not we'd go with them. Quentin looked at the bids very, very carefully, and they are apples to apples. So there was absolutely no reason for us not to go with a low bidder. Just for your information, the next closest bidder was $300,000 more than this. So it's a substantial difference. Again, we've prepared for this. We're aware that this is going to happen. And so this is not going to impact our ARPA budget at all.
So you're recommending?
I recommend that we accept the bid.
Services.
Yes, sir.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Gore. Question? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
That's all I had, unless you had any questions about consent stuff on here.
Anybody got any questions about our consent item?
They're pretty straightforward.
Actually, I have one.
Okay, thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Thank you.
See you all.
Happy Thanksgiving. All right, financial 2.1, discuss, consider Justice Peace Precinct 3 audit up to date. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning.
I didn't see it.
It's not in the packet.
I didn't provide any backup documentation just because it's my working papers, and so it's a little confusing. So I just wanted to give a little synopsis of what's happened since we came to court back in August. The secretary did make a deposit right before court for 2019, 2020, and 2021. But since the deposits have been made to the bank, she's not receipted any of that money into Odyssey. So therefore it's sitting in undistributed funds. Connie needs those reports once they're receipted to distribute it to the entities. And so currently it's just sitting in the undistributed funds. In 2019, based on the information that the secretary provided on the deposit slip, it still looks like there's almost $1,000 of undeposited funds that have not been collected. They've been mishandled. They're lost. I don't know exactly what it is, but I've reached out to the JP and I've reached out to the secretary, and I'm not getting a response back. In 2020 and 2021, it looks like most of it was deposited. In 2021, there are 3 cases that are missing their filing fees, one of which was deposited back in the August deposit, but it was returned due to a stale dated check. And like I said, I don't know the secretary's efforts as far as finding the missing filing fees, but we just wanted to bring it back since it's coming close to the end of the year, and this office, JP Court, will be consolidated and he will no longer be here. So.
Yeah, we're trying to do the final cleanups before the end of the year. So I know we're still working with them, trying to wrap everything up and make sure everything's cleared, but we'll just keep working the rest of the month, the rest of the year, and just kind of go from there. So
Are you gonna have to go over and sit down with them, make sure this gets done? I mean, instead of just emailing back and forth, just show up and say, hey, this is what we need to have done.
it's a possibility. You know, we're still working through all that, so it's not off the table to finish up.
I think that's probably where we're at.
But we just want to give you all an update and just so y'all know what's going on.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, no action on 2.1. Thank you, Lindsay. 3.1, discuss, consider approving, let's go to the supplemental, we'll do that. For supplemental. Is discuss and consider rescinding motion in order to approve the signed SH99 Grand Parkway MVWA market value waiver agreement for November 8, 2022. we need to rescind this and approve the consent letter.
I move to rescind it, Judge.
Second by Mr. Combs, second by Mr. Tice, any questions?
What kind?
Billy, you want
Yeah, we actually probably jumped the gun a little bit approving those at the last court. When we had our meeting the Thursday following the court's action, the counties opted not to approve the amendment as it was written. The amendments, there was actually two of them. They opted not to approve them because they would have severed the agreement, the market valuation waiver agreement was an agreement that was reached, I think, back in 2017, that actually, instead of doing a market evaluation every year for a total increase, it would just set the rate increase to be automatically the higher of 2% or the inflation index for Harris County. And this year, that index, the CPI, is 9.76%. So we would have seen a very substantial increase in our tolls. And everyone thought that was just too high. But primarily Fort Bend County, Fort Bend County, they are their own regulator. They own their own toll roads. They collect their tolls, they pay for maintenance, they pay for construction of the toll road, although they're still a part of the system. All the other counties, including Chambers County, opted not to take it over and to leave it with TxDOT. So that would have given the authority to raise the rates up to the regulatory authority over it. So it would have been TxDOT for Chambers County, Liberty County, Harris County, Galveston County. It would have been Fort Bend County for their toll road. And it would have been a permanent change. So the counties opted not to do that. What they wanted to do is this 1 year, and this 1 year alone, they are leaving it up to the regulatory authority. And that's also on the agenda. We'll be coming up on in a minute. So we're rescinding that because it was not passed or approved as it was written. And then we'll go back, and now they're proposing to do that for 1 year. And for 2023, our rate increase will be 2.3%. All the TxDOT's is going to be 2.2. Fort Bend County may actually go a little bit higher than that. That would be up to them to decide. And there is a committee that I was asked to serve on. However, since I'm stepping down, Chambers County is going to need to appoint someone to serve on it. It's going to be a series of meetings over the upcoming year to get a long-term fix to see how we do, what we do with this, plus the other amendment that was on the table, which had to do with direct connectors and two-lane toll roads.
Okay, I got a motion second to rescind that motion. Any other questions? Those in favor? Oh, before I forget about it, I had judicial education training last week in Austin, and our county attorney spoke on rules of evidence Friday morning at 8 a.m. So I had to get up and go to class. But she did an excellent job. Lots of comments from my peers on what a good job she's done. The only thing I didn't like was she came in and she said, "Good morning, to all you honorable judges and Judge Sylvia." Other than that, it was good.
It just came out.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Well, I'm serious. She did an excellent job. And it keeps us all entertained at 8 a.m. in a way.
Thank you, yes.
All right, so 3.1, discuss and consider approving SH 99 consent letter for 2023 total escalation. Billy, I think.
Yeah.
Did pretty well.
Yeah, this is the actual agreement to, and this agreement actually right here, it actually says it can be, it's up to the governing regulatory authority to raise it. However, I did get an email yesterday, and it is official that TxDOT's going to go with a 2.2% rate increase for all of its counties. So I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Hammond. No questions, comments, those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. 3.2, discuss and consider setting public hearing for the abandonment of a portion of Cedar Hill Drive beginning 725 feet west of Highway 146 and west approximately 1,660 feet. So the public hearing be set for when?
Next court at 10 a.m.
What day is that? Lauren, you got the calendar?
Like the 8th, the 7th,
13th.
December 13th.
It's 7 days, no sooner than 7, but it has to be less than 30. That's what the law says.
Okay.
So we're good there.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to set that public hearing December 13th at 10 a.m. Motion by Commissioner Gore, second by Commissioner Tass. Questions, comments?
I do.
Go ahead, Bob.
This is in the city of Mont Bellevue. I've talked to different ones about what they're gonna do, and so Tommy finally said, look, well, let's just do it for us and get out of the way, and so that's what we're doing this.
And then we'll let the city.
They do what they want to, because it's yeah, like I say, it was deeded or conveyed to the city by plat, or to the county by plat years ago, and that we're just getting out of it.
City's not claiming it either. Nobody wants it.
So as a part of this, are we gonna quit claim whatever rights we may have in it?
Yes,
Over?
I didn't, Ben, I think you got something from TAC and I can't find it. I logged in my email shuffle. But I think that the only thing that we get paid for is when it's an actual grant by deed. If this will be considered an easement and it will revert back half and half to the adjoining landowners, which is Targa
On both sides.
on both sides, yes.
All right, now we'll do it now, set the public hearing.
That's right.
Yeah, but I mean, we never had actual deed to it. You said it was conveyed to the county via plat.
That's correct.
Like a lot of our roads. So we
Yes.
really don't hold fee simple title to it.
We do not, no. It was conveyed to the public for use of public.
Right.
That's right.
All right. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 3.3, discuss and consider releasing contingency money. Kilgore Parkway for the detour around the Enterprise Pipeline along with the Needle Point intersection improvements estimated at 30,000.
Okay, thank you, Court. This is, we're having issues with Enterprise pipelines as they cross under Kilgore. We were working under basically the plans from phase 1 and a field representative that Enterprise had provided to us for making the pavement across these pipelines. The field rep was giving us direction, and at the last minute, a engineer from their office stepped out in the field and kind of changed the world a little bit, and it is causing several issues. One of which I believe is being resolved now. They were originally wanting to us to go back and encase a line that's about 10, 12 feet deep and 24 inches, had a bend in it, was going to be over $1 million of cost to the county. They have since backed off that. I thank you for Commissioner Combs and for BJ Simon in helping work towards resolution there. They are still pushing for an 8-inch line to be extended at 130 foot of casing across that to the right of way, which would cause a delay in the project until I believe sometime towards late January. That being said, we're trying to keep the contractor working, avoid delays to him and to Gulf Coast, which of course is a Chambers County company. And so this is a pretty low hanging fruit, not a lot of money here to build a detour to be able to push traffic to the outside lanes and allow that the inside of the current lanes open for the traveling public not to be in that area, so the contractor can work on the medians and keep him working through this time of December and January until this stuff gets adjusted. The other side of it was basically just something that was missed in the plan work. It's only about $5,000 of that 30,000, which is some widening of the intersection at Needle Point. It doesn't look that bad on paper, but when you get out in the field and see how the intersection's been widened to the south, and you pull up to that intersection, it's a pretty large skew coming across there, or angle, I guess I should say. And this is basically just a safety improvement to help traffic maneuver across that intersection. So anyway, I'll take questions if y'all have them.
Judge, I'm gonna move for approval on that.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Todd.
So how do we get resolution on this? Because this guy shows up and decides that everything that we've done so far doesn't work. So what happens when next week, when some other guy shows up and goes, oh, well, I don't like this plan? I mean, where does it end
You
at?
talking about the enterprise?
Yeah, I mean, we had a plan already in place, which served well for the first section of the road. Now we're on the second section of the road and, oh, no, this works. So.
I mean, I'm gonna move for approval because we need to keep the project going.
Right.
But we're not through working with Enterprise. We're nowhere near through with that. You know, I think they're responsible for this money and any other costs that we incur in delaying it. Plus, you know, doing their extending their casing, because we've been working in good faith with them. This project has not been done in silence. I mean, we've been out there, they've had their rep there every day, or not every day, but working along with us. And for this to come up at the last minute, you know, we'll go along with it, but we're not through.
Yeah, we had worked, you know, with the field rep to do everything we can to protect that line through construction. He had asked us to not put a machine over the top of the pipeline mixing lime. So we mixed off-site, and then he asked for approval of the dozer that we put on there. He wanted a small dozer. So we accommodated that and put it over the line to push the lime treated dirt back in there. Then they asked for the for the bridge panels, concrete bridge panels to be laid across there for protection. We did that.
Like we did on the other side.
Yes, exactly. And so we had been, I agree, Tommy, with wholeheartedly with what you're saying. And anyway, like I said, the last minute, if it had only been a couple more days, would have had this thing poured. It just, weather had affected us anyway, and this engineer came out, and it is what it is at this point, I guess. But certainly, as Commissioner Combs had said, it is a process. And so at this point, they've already kind of backed off on the larger adjustment. And so we're hoping that through additional discussions, we can reduce or diminish this other one as well. But in the meantime, this does provide the contractor to continue to work and avoids a delay issue with the county.
Yeah, we do, because if we don't pay this, we're gonna be paying more on the demob and remob and all this stuff.
Is now where it stops for 45 minutes, and so everything's back to you, the Needle Point to Kilgore, and that intersection is messed up.
You talking about 99 and.
No, at Needle Point. And so we've widened on the south side. And like I said, so we intend to get that poured, the other section of it poured. And then we need to, like I said, make this little transition to the north so that lines up better. We will have some traffic control in there that improves the safety of that in the interim. And so.
Okay, so the field, you had a field rep out there. And we were doing what he said. Right? And then somebody else came out and said, no, you gotta stop and do it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And so
we do have a leg to stand on.
we do, yes. And they told me that they were actually supposed to come in and give you some bit of information last week. I know you were out, but so I don't know exactly where that's at. I've only talked to the engineer. I have not been involved with you know, their upper management of any sort. I know Billy's had some discussions, but
Lauren, I didn't call Friday, no? Okay, all right, I got a motion second, anything else, those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. 3.4, discuss and consider setting a no truck zone on FM 2354 from 1405 to FM 3180 and on FM 3180 from 2354 to Interstate 10.
so actually the phone call I just stepped out for was one of the upper management retirees from TxDOT, a buddy of mine that I've worked with for years and years. And so I was kind of getting his feedback on this. It is Bobby and I have been talking about it quite a bit. We've been in discussion with the commissioner and some of the language you've seen. It's very clear that the city has authority to make these calls of restricting trucks through a city.
Yeah, on state highway.
On a state highway, yes, sir. There's not any language that I can find that provides that to the county. Now, what we had talked about was experience that I had in a location where the county and the city were working together in a situation where the city owned part of the route, the county owned the rest. But the key is that the city triggered that through a no truck zone on the area that they owned. And that was in the city of Cleveland. And so I was a little unsure if this could happen just a county alone. Bobby was pretty sure that it could not. And just confirming with TxDOT individual, I think he really knows. And so the key is that the cities, when a city incorporates a location, they technically own the roadways. Hang on a second. So they technically own the roadways, and they allow through agreement. So their interlocal agreements that they sign with TxDOT allows TxDOT to do work on those roadways, similar to what we have in our cities. When we have an interlocal with the city, it allows us to do work on those. It's the same type of situation, but the city technically owns those locations.
City street.
It's a city street,
For the county as
even on a state highway. Yeah.
Not on a county road.
Yeah, you're right. But on a state highway, the city, according to the code, actually owns those streets. And then they allow the state to do that through an interlocal agreement. If they didn't have the interlocal, all of that would fall on the city. So in a county doesn't have that interlocal in that manner that owns it. It is TxDOT that owns those streets. And so TxDOT will not restrict trucks on its own routes, is the issue. So the key is the cities. So if the cities trigger this, then we can work with TxDOT to follow suit and designate the alternate routes.
So aren't there businesses along that route that this would affect?
Well, so
I mean, there's
there's only one location where Beach City crosses 2354, which is south of Fisher.
A city's incorporated on that road. That's the only place.
That is the only location. That's right. So you could,
Where's that?
that is, it's at the Beach City Community Building, right? It's only like 100-foot wide or something like that as it crosses.
They start out. These city limit starts out down at Cedar Point, and they follow the south and east right of way line of 2354 all the way up to the hill, JL Hill survey, which is up where Bay Place is. And that's, I have the map. I have everything here that where it was set out by the court. And then they picked up additional stuff from the hill survey up to Lawrence Road. And it's all on their city limits is all on the west side of those east side of those highways. So the highways are not in any city limits.
Bobby, Beach City city limits crosses at the community building to take in the community building. It does have, and the fire station.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I
it
found
does
nothing,
have a portion.
but one small portion.
Well,
So the key would be, well, in the city of Baytown actually has incorporated a strip off to the west side as well, all the way down.
So the actual 2354 is not in any city limits until it gets up to the city.
So So it would take some type of an agreement between the cities to be able to have one of them stretch across the roadway, essentially.
So that would take care of 2354, but the 3180,
So that's the same thing. So that, once you have that done, that was the same situation we had in Cleveland, where Cleveland did not go all the way out to the split of business and regular state highway 105. So if they designated it and it kills a route, it has to go back to the next state highway. So that would bring it all the way back up to 565. I don't think there's any way that you could get it up to I-10, the 3180 section up to I-10, but you could get it up to 565. What's that?
The new.
hardware store.
Well, okay, so that is a good point. So this would only be for locations that have alternate routes.
it would
So-
be for through traffic.
It would be for through traffic, yes. If you have a designation on that route, it would not restrict that. I mean, obviously, you know, and you've got trucks that, right, and so same thing in any city that makes this designation, they still have businesses and stuff that are around that, along that route that have to have deliveries and everything else. So, but that is an excellent question. Thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, so what's the bottom line? Nothing can be done.
I don't think we can do anything right now.
Yeah, I don't think we can either, not unless City of Beach City would have to start the ball rolling by making that portion that within their city limits a no truck zone.
Which would be on a smart section.
Right.
Which is silly.
But no, it might be silly, but it would then allow the county, if what Corey is saying, authority to expand it from there. And I did send a request in to Jim Allison to get his opinion on this. I just checked, he has not responded. I probably didn't do it right, but he's not responded to me. Or maybe he's researching it, I don't know.
And it's because of all the complaints. What's drawing all this? No truck traffic.
The expansion of a bunch of properties that primarily a lot of the property that's in between 2354, 3180, and 565, all of it is going industrial. We've got so much stuff platted or coming to DRC and stuff, and we're trying to get the trucks not to use the same roads that the residents have to use. We've got so many driveways and subdivisions off of that road. We're trying to separate them as much as possible.
So I think for that triangle piece, if we could have the industrial trucks use 2354 instead of 3180, 2354, the little section between 3180 and 565.
Killing my cut through.
No, it's not cut through, it's everybody's cut through. And, you know, Corey and I, we've got to visit with Tex Dot. By the way, Corey, did you ever reach out to Martin?
I did. And
Okay.
they were looking at this to see what could be provided. They've had some, I believe that everything they have is based on a city. It's not on a county. But they were going to try to provide language if they
I'm not
could.
talking about for that.
Oh,
I'm talking about for the intersection, just us meeting in general.
so I reached out to the Director of Transportation Operations and to Martin. And the Kenneth Weimers, which is the current Director of Transportation Operations, has been involved in all those discussions. He still agrees with our direction, working with the industry along 99 for that access to try to move stuff off of 565. And so we have agreed to try to find some time with Martin and other staff to do a tabletop exercise and see if we can't really pin this down and make sure that we're working all together on the same plan instead of
Right.
independent.
Like I said, I did talk to Martin about it and he is willing to sit down with us, do it. But for everybody, I mean, the truth is, we've just got so much industrial that's getting developed in parcels that we never really expected, that if we don't do something with the roads, it's going to be one huge safety hazard because there is a lot of residential that's on the east side of 2354 and 3180. That's going to be affected by these trucks and this freight moving in there.
Is there an entrance, of whatever company it is, the new company on that triangle? I know there's an entrance on 2354. Is there an entrance at 565?
Yes, you mean Ameriport?
Well,
The larger warehouses
the
that
new
are.
warehouse is coming up.
Yes, yes. So there, right now, that there's a intersection from Ameriport that crosses 565 and goes into future development to the north as well. And would be a signalized intersection. So, like I said, there's been a lot of coordination with Tech Dot on every move that we've got, but you know, the real issue that we have is all the development, the trucks and everything else, and the proximity, the close proximity between the 2354, 565 intersection and 99 frontage road intersections. They're just too close for those left-hand turn movements to occur and not, especially when you start having any type of backup. It's going to back up in an intersection. You're going to have trucks.
Trust me,
Right. So we see it. We're trying to do everything that we can to help with that situation with both short-term results and long-range projects.
All right, so no action on 3.4.
Correct.
No action.
Okay.
What we're doing with it.
Don't say no action. I mean, you always
I think we discussed it first in like 2019, maybe. Billy did a lot of work with Centerpoint at the time. Looking at our existing luminaires, y'all know how many issues we've had. Y'all remember the constant issues we've had with keeping those lights on. The circuitry on it is not great. However, I was unaware that Centerpoint had looked at the lights and basically said that they would accept them. It appears as is, and then they would take over and make improvements and repair those up, you know, and then we would pay monthly fee on it. It did not happen at the time. However, through you know, this project and looking at the additional money that we're about to pump into improving the lights and bringing them up to where they need to be and add additional lights at Needle Point, we started discussing it again. I had been talking to Centerpoint. Centerpoint told me that they have never in the whole Houston region taken over a group of lights. And so the assumption was made that, you know, ours will be into that same thing. But then yesterday, Billy sent me what he had worked out or had agreement with before I sent that on. So hopefully I'll hear back from them soon. But at worst case, what they've told me is the average is $2,000 per luminaire down that facility. And they would, you know, however many we want, if we want to do just the section that is there now, or if we want to extend that down to Needle Point or down to 99 or the whole route, any of that, then, you know, they would do that per luminaire, and that would take care of the service, that'd take care of any additional borings that have to occur, running new wire, running that circuitry, and then there would just be the monthly costs associated, which is same as what they do in subdivisions, and they do this in counties all around the Houston region. So this is a very standard contract.
If the court recalls, we went through this in 2019. And actually, I even got a contract. I got so far with Centerpoint, we even actually had a contract in our hand and it was ready to sign. But our then county attorney kind of threw ice water on it. And at the time, they were willing to take our lights over, convert them to LEDs. We would pay a $19.75 per luminaire a month, which is the same charge we're going to be paying this time. Plus now they're asking $2,000 a light up front. And they were going to do that, no extra charge, $19.75 a month. But the county attorney said that we could not do that because they were county asset and we cannot give them to Centerpoint. So it got put on ice, COVID came in and it went away. So here we are today, but you know, I still think we need to work with Centerpoint, show them what agreement. I mean, they drafted that agreement. We did not.
That's correct. Yes. So, and actually, I'd like, you know, you already approved the $90,000 for the luminaires at Needle Point. Adding those.
Actually, we tabled that.
Oh, did we table it?
Yeah.
Okay. I have to go back and look at that. All right.
Yeah, we did because I wanted to check with Centerpoint.
Oh, that is what started
and just
that.
see what they would do. But I think we tabled that. But yeah, I know we did.
Okay. You're right.
Right.
That's right. So, okay. Well, so this would actually be, you know, much cheaper. I was thinking that was already approved. So I apologize for that. But this would be essentially that 90,000 would almost cover, you know, this 2,000 per lights going down this whole location. So then it would just be the takeover of the maintenance, which we're already paying for, you know, the electricity part, which is a portion of that $19.
No, that's the Centerpoint service part. We have to get our own electricity provider. You know, when you get your power bill at your house, you've got a distribution charge on it, and that's the Centerpoint charge. If you live in the unregulated portion of the county, you got two charges. You got the power charge, and then you got the distribution charge. The 1975 is a distribution and a maintenance charge. That way they do all maintenance, they replace all light bulbs. If it gets knocked down, they put it back up. I mean, they own it and and that's part of that 1975. We still have to pay the electricity.
Well, he gave me a $4 or something rate per. I'm not exactly sure which, because I haven't seen the contract yet. This was just a phone call that we had last Thursday on this. So
Look at that
I'm not
package I
sure.
sent you. It's all in there.
okay, all
All
right.
right, so we're not ready to do anything today, correct?
Well, so I just want guidance on whether or not we need to work towards something with CenterPoint, or we want the contractor to do this and we go along the system that we've been doing on this roadway for years and years.
I don't want to add any more lights. I mean, we're not in the light business. We don't do this anywhere else in Chambers County. The developer should have done it. I mean,
I agree
don't
with
mind-
you.
I don't mind fixing what's there. God, I wish we could get rid of them. But, because it's been a thorn in our.
Well,
side.
we don't have the equipment to get up to them. We don't have the bucket trucks. We don't have any.
Yeah, I mean,
We're not in the light business.
we're not in the light business. I don't want to add any more lights on that road. If a developer wants to do it, it's up to them. But I mean, we're stuck with these.
We're not adding.
No, the county actually put these in. The developer did not.
That's what I'm saying. We should have never done it in the first place.
Right.
We're stuck with them now, so.
Well, I don't know that we're stuck with them. I mean, it's under construction. I can go whichever route y'all want to
Personally,
go.
I think we need to give them the center point, but I think we need to try to negotiate. I think we need to go back and look at what we'd already agreed to in 2019 or what they had agreed to and try to compare them and make sure we get best deal we can get.
I agree.
So you're talking about the old section road or the new section?
The old section. So this would be from Needle Point to 146.
So what about the new section?
So that
We were going to put two up at the intersection of
Needle Point.
Needle Point and Kilgore, no more between there, and then we're gonna pick up what we already have. We're only adding two new ones, if I remember right.
Okay.
Right.
That was my question.
So, right, but we're not putting luminaires up at 99. We're not doing them at any of the industrial areas or all the way up. I mean, well, let me say this. There will be a traffic signal at 3180 and it will have illumination out on it, but that will be maintained and operated by TechStock. So the only additional elements that we would have would be at Needle Point and Kilgore. And then we're intending to, so I guess right now we have 2 lanes, which those are a little bit tight in there now. We're intending to keep them in the center, have some on the outside, kind of spread those out, but essentially just working what's currently a 2-lane system into a 4-lane system in the same area that the luminaires are existing right now without extending them further down the roadway.
Okay, so back to my question. Any action needed at this time?
So,
Well,
question, we have 90,000 earmarked for that.
well, apparently it's been unapproved, so. we
Well,
would
yeah,
have to
the
go back.
money was coming somewhere.
It was already,
Was
it was,
coming-
it-
Gilmore project?
it was. What's that? Yes. Right, so that's the Kilgore project.
So
yes.
money's in there. I'd say that we work up an agreement not to exceed $90,000. And if Billy wants to work on that
I think they're already working on it.
and see what we get out of that. So that we can move on.
Second,
Motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Combs, to $90,000 for an elimination agreement with Centerpoint.
Judge, from
Sorry.
time to time, we've been getting requests from citizens to have illumination at an intersection. And I talked to the same gentleman that would, and what he told me was, is if there's a light pole there that they can mount a luminaire on, they will put it on and then charge us whatever the monthly rate for that light is. And so one of them came in the other day with Joe Patch and 3180. It's dark there, different places. So Centerpoint will do that now. but that's something we have to face, and we'll have to bring each one of them in individually.
And just another note on that, TxDOT has changed their HSIP program. We competed on that program last year at this time, and they awarded us a few $100,000 worth of striping that will be improving roadways with this next year. And we could be utilizing that also for that same type of situation if we want to improve lighting at some of the intersections that have had some nighttime incidents or something like that. And it's anyway, for safety reasons, yes, we can do that. So we could compete for that if you, I mean, it's out now, so we'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah, so maybe Bobby just make a list.
Yeah, we got a lot of.
Bobby, have you been to 3180 in Joe Patch at night?
Nope.
It's not that dark.
Just for clarification, the lights that were put up at 565 and 1409, they belong to TxDOT, correct? Or will belong to TxDOT?
Yes.
We'll pay the meter bill, don't, we'll pay the.
Until TxDOT takes it over.
Oh, yes, right, yeah.
Yeah, so I got a security light in my house and it's $20 a month.
Got one for 10.
All right, those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. 3.7. Just consider approving chamber surveying and mapping to complete meets and bounds survey, Washington Avenue from Miller Street to the end of maintenance.
So this is been an ongoing process of for utilizing Washington Avenue as a part of the Justice Center project. We've been working with TxDOT on them to abandon that section of roadway officially to the city, and then the city would have to give it over to the county for this purpose. We heard back and they're ready for the next step, which is to get the meets and bounds for that. And so anyway, that's where we're at for this. And Bobby, you have anything you want to say?
The only thing that they own is a 10-foot strip either side, on either side of it. The middle of it again was conveyed by plat. So that they have right-of-way deeds for a 10-foot strip along the west side and east side of Washington. So Corey and I'll be in contact with them. But first thing we got to have it surveyed. Chamber Surveying Mapping did all the stuff for the Justice Center. They probably just a matter of just mopping up a few extra points and doing, they can take care of this.
So they don't actually own the roadway?
They own a 10-foot strip either side of it, and we got this thing of it was platted in 1900. I've got the map over here to show you. By the Wilcox, W.D. Wilcox's wife Catherine gave the W.D. Wilcox edition and set out.
Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Thanks a lot, Judge. And
Yeah, he surveyed it.
Sorry, man.
all right, go ahead, Judge. But anyway, they conveyed it to the public. That's where the map reads. That Washington Avenue, all the streets in the W.D. Wilcox edition were conveyed for the public. And so that's a question that we'll get with, that Corey and I'll get with TxDOT to see what kind of meets and bounds they want and what kind of deeds they'll have and do that. We'll get work on that. We can work that out.
Bobby, I think as a rule, we should, every time we take a plat over, we should have them sign a deed over to the county for the road right of ways. That way we get fee simple ownership in it, and there's no question.
We could change, we might have changed our subdivision regs to do that, and it'd be a matter of just a little extra work on their part to have meets and bounds with a plat of the, and then.
Well, they gotta have a meets and bounds anyhow, because they put it on the plat.
That's right, and we could, you could actually file the plat of record as say, Exhibit A, all the streets in here conveyed by deed to the county.
Yeah, but we need to get conveyed by deed
That's right.
to the county, not just necessarily to the public.
That's right. That's how we need to change it. Natalie, you hear that? All right, thank you.
All right, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay.
Motion by Commissioner Hammond, second by Commissioner Gore. Those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. 3.8, discuss consider approving TMP, provide an appraisal for West Avenue from Miller Street to the end of maintenance.
Okay, so this is the second part of it. After the meets and bounds, they will need an appraisal to ensure that, It's,
So what are they afraid? The
the,
2 10-foot
That's what.
easements
That's
or?
what we're going. We're going to
Find out.
do.
yeah, I'm not, so, I don't know, I don't know. I know it's like the 3180 issue. I kind of believe like, you know, that we have essentially given them over.
The 3180, we actually had deed for the right of way.
Right. I don't know. It's a little bit confusing, certainly.
And we deeded it to them.
Right,
Well, yes, but we didn't do it until 2018.
that's right.
I know.
So I think it's kind of the same thing. That's what I'm saying is like, we have given them permission to do this. There is an asset here. I'm not exactly sure how that needs to be looked at. I mean, it's
It's typically to the section based in Texas, not to the county.
right.
But regardless, we had to have it, right?
That's right.
I think I mean, normally in the process, the state requires a quit claim of that right of way to the state for them to maintain it. But you know, it is in the city, so I don't know. It is a little bit.
1955, found the deed where.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. So this is something we're gonna have to dig in with them a little bit. We'll see where it goes, but we just need, we do need TNP's appraisals for this process.
Looks by Commissioner Gore, second by Commissioner Tice. Those in favor? Opposed? 7.1. For contract with Griffith Mosley Johnson and Associates Consulting Services related to new Justice Center design. They're really doing a good job for us.
So moved.
Got a second?
So,
I'll second it.
Motion by Commissioner Tice, second by Commissioner, go ahead.
so where does this end at?
Yeah, that was my question.
I mean, I thought we already had
I'm
an
not,
agreement.
I'm not disagreeing.
We had an agreement. We
They've
never had
been
contract
very,
in
very instrumental
Yes,
in helping us, without a doubt. But there, we need to know where the end of this is, so is it just through the design process? I mean, because if not, this goes kind of open-ended.
Judge, do you mind if I?
no, Sheriff, please, William.
So from when you ended, it doesn't matter to me, but I would love to have them through the construction phase for the jail for sure. Now, whether you do it for the sheriff's office and the justice center, I'll leave that up to the court. But from a jail perspective, there's too much concrete, too much steel, too much that can be done wrong, that it's too expensive to go undo it if it's not built right in the beginning.
No, the 150,000, I was looking at that, it says fixed fee invoice monthly.
Yeah, I saw that. and I want to know, is that 150,000 a month
That's right, I don't.
or
get
what
that.
is it?
No, I don't believe it. It's my understanding, that's just my understanding, gentlemen, that I think Carl felt like they could do the whole project
For 150.
for 150,000.
Yeah, he originally said he was gonna do it, nothing, just the favor.
Well, they were on the female jail.
Yeah, you know.
They were, and I think y'all had discussed up to 20,000 and he wasn't billing at all till now. He's obviously had to get involved
Correct.
to get HOK to clean their act
Without
up.
a doubt, I think he'll save us tons over this.
Oh, I guarantee.
Yeah, he
Oh,
will, without a doubt.
He's cut $5 million out of the jail just in his consulting with. the
So
jail
we're
committee.
proving 150,000. Period.
Well, if you read this right, maybe I didn't read it right, it says for a fixed fee, $150,000
Invoice monthly.
invoice monthly.
Yeah, and that's
So
what
in your motion, you proved up to 150,000,
Yeah, that's. not my-
bill monthly. Motion by Commissioner
So where
Gore,
you reading that?
second by Commissioner Tice.
Yeah,
Well,
I
what
believe
would-
it was vague. I mean, it could be interpreted either
Well,
way.
Well, what the motion is prove 150,000 up to 150.
Well, I understand, but approving up to $150,000, you might get 1 month's worth of work. And he's done.
But that's
I mean,
all we're
you know,
proving right now.
Okay,
I mean,
I
so
don't-
you do have a,
I would think-
you know, and if it's for the entire thing, I mean, does that include, is it through design or what? Just, to me, it was very unclear. And
It was. You can keep saving us $5 million.
no, hey, I'm not, trust me, I'm not opposed to it. I just want to know what the scope is.
All right, so bottom line, we're approving 150,000. If it goes over that, then we're gonna change, you're gonna have to come back before.
So
I
I,
understand 150,000 for what scope?
so it's my understanding, commissioners, that a kind of an as is needed, and I think you probably just have to follow how the billing goes, because I don't know exactly what rate he bills at, but Carl himself has been making most of the meetings, trying to trim the budget down, getting it where within the right direction for you all. And so I think it probably has a lot to do with how many hours worth of work he and John and the associates put into the project. So I think the 150 was kind of to get started. So like I say, I don't think his intent was for you to write him $150,000 check if we can get through building this Justice Center for less.
No, I hear you, Sheriff. My only concern is, it's just vague on what the scope is, exactly what he's gonna do.
Well,
And frankly, I think, I've met with him before, and I agree with you. I think we need it.
Oh,
Yeah,
no doubt. With HOK, he's been able to tell HOK no, where myself and the judge don't have the expertise to tell him no.
So basically, this is value engineering consultation.
Basically.
Pretty much,
that is,
for lack of a better term.
yeah, I would say that's a pretty good term.
And I think the scope is 150,000 worth of work. Wherever that takes, it's been a process. And then if we need more, we're gonna come back to court and ask to increase that. All right, got a motion second. Any questions? Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 8.1. Just consider new code collection station.
All right.
Tommy, Debbie, who's?
Hey, Debbie.
Good morning.
Good morning, afternoon. So I'm happy to announce that we are finally ready to open the new Cove Collection Section. Yes.
Good, by their Tuesday.
We're gonna have a opening date of January the 2nd. We're waiting until after the holidays, so hopefully it won't be so confusing.
Are you closed on January 1st?
January 1st is a Sunday, so yes.
Okay.
And we will reopen the first Monday in January. I'm in the process of getting signs made now to educate the public of when it's gonna happen. We're gonna put it out on social media, so we have a definite date now, January the 2nd. So you can start telling everybody,
And maintenance is good with that.
Yes, I already talked to Mike. He said he's done. He's out of there. He did a great job. Yes, sir.
Pray for dry weather so we can build that pad for the brush.
Yes, well, they did get us a pad bit over there. It's starting out. I think it's gonna be okay. Hopefully we'll have some dry weather. We're gonna try to make it hold up as long as we can. So
It looks really good.
Yeah.
The whole complex looking good.
the plan is to close the other site and open at the same time. So yes, that's why the signage, I think, giving the public a month, and word of mouth and them coming in, because most everybody that comes, is going to come within this month. So they'll know that we're changing it.
So you put it on social media. Do you also put it at Big City? Let those folks know they can come to.
We will. Yeah, I'll put some signs there too. Yes, we're gonna.
Stays open, right?
Yes.
Make
yes,
sure, because
Yes,
people
yes.
were wondering, they were asking.
Yes, Beach City, we're not doing.
Right. We have Beach City and we have the new one that's coming.
Yes, yes, absolutely. All right.
All right, any questions?
How exciting.
No way.
Cool. Thank y'all. Happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, don't leave yet, Dennis.
While you work.
In fact, stay up there.
Okay.
Go to the other supplemental. Discuss, consider purchasing articulated dump truck.
Yeah, the reason that I came to court with this,
I don't have that one, Debbie. Did you go through my office with that one?
Did I go through your office with this one? Yeah, this is that buy board, Tucson.
I didn't see the second supplemental, that's what I'm saying.
Did we not send it
I don't
to
think-
you,
I don't think it came
George?
from office.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Can we table and bring it back next board, please?
It depends. Let's discuss it.
Yeah,
Because there's
The
There's
reason,
issues there
and,
when it
and
comes
I apologize, George, I'm trying to do good on that. I got word from my salesman that they had found this truck. I'm approved for this for next year's budget. But the problem was with me not being able to order it until, spring, then I might not even get it next year because evidently these are high demand vehicles.
Everything's like-
Yeah, well, he found me one, it is on the buy board and I can get it before the end of the year. But if I don't get it, someone else is gonna take it. And so that was why I was coming to court to see if we could go ahead and get this.
So we're asking to purchase something in 2022 with 2022 money, not 2023 money.
Correct, yes,
So
we,
you have 2022 money to pay for it.
yes,
That's what, working with Aaron, discussing it last week.
we had
I
some
know
money.
Debbie said
Yeah.
that the one we've got is broken down all the time.
Yes. Yeah, and we actually have to have one running there. That's part of our permit, is to keep these trucks because it's what we used to cover the trash with. And we're down to one truck and it's kind of on its last leg. And one of the trucks and the reason we wanted to go ahead and get this one is because one of them has it needs a big part. It's over $30,000 and we really don't want to put that money into it just to be replacing it. Next year, we'd like to go ahead and sell it without doing those repairs.
I don't have the amount. What is the amount?
The amount was $429,719.
Thank you. HCAC,
Aaron, did we figure out how we could purchase it this year?
Well, I think she had like roughly, she needed about 105,000, so probably just really gonna have to take it from the general fund the other bit,
So she would use
300.
At 330, I think
Yeah,
is what we
you
came
covered
up
that
with,
last
and that
time.
was from capital purchases that weren't purchased this year.
We really need to get it done.
Yeah, I don't think we got a choice.
Yeah, we don't have a choice on this.
I'll make a motion that Debbie work with George repurchasing and buy.
that works for me. Thank you, Commissioner.
Motion by Commissioner Collins, second by Commissioner Pratt. To work with George and auditor.
Again, I'm sorry, George.
You're good, Debbie. You're good. You're new. You're coming on.
I'm learning.
Well, and this all came up Friday afternoon. Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all in the mouth, George.
All right, I got a motion second. Any other questions, comments? Those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Y'all you can keep that.
Thanks, Debbie. Thank you, Debbie.
All right, consent, first thing 4.
Oh, that's me, right?
That's you.
Yes, now I am.
At least for two
Okay,
more, at least for 2 more quarters.
I got, yeah, Dos Mas. 1914, this is the agreement with TGS for the tower in Beach City. Is that an extension of the existing one we already have or the renewal or what?
Yes, sir. And so, yes, so we had the one and it was good for 3 years and but what's funny is this fell through the cracks and they didn't get charged last year. They're the ones that pointed it out to us. They didn't hear me. They pointed it out to us and it was Aaron moving from the position he was in because he was the one that was doing the billing to the auditing. So I think we got it figured out. We're trying to get on the same page with TGS.
Okay.
I think y'all
we had one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, let's see here. Then item number 24. This is health service building, the data box for keys. If I'm not mistaken, we don't have the money in the budget for that, right?
That's another good one, Billy. Yes, and I think auditing is gonna fix it.
Yeah, that was a wrong account on there. They put the wrong capital account, so the correct one is like 67, the middle numbers is wrong. My laptop done, I'm sorry, it's like 673, but there is plenty of money in the capital account.
Says 630 to 673 or whatever.
Yeah, somewhere in there, I'll get the right
So
number.
the answer, yeah.
And once it gets fixed, Billy,
Number
we'll make sure.
24, I think.
Do that, once he fixes the account, we'll issue the PO.
Okay, all right. And then my other one is just make a note out to Bobby and Road and Bridge. We're doing a lot of fiber optics and we already have Frontier running cables all the way through Beach City. They went to Beach City for permitting. And a lot of them are running right down the center line of the ditch, which they're deep enough, but Bobby, you know what we're talking about. Just be careful because where they're coming up for the pedestals, they lay those cables shallow, when we go clean our ditches, they're gonna get cut.
Bill went the other day, they are digging, they've learned their lesson, I think.
Okay, we got Frontier. It looks like we're gonna have Comcast doing pretty much the same thing. So.
Yeah.
We'll work on it.
So, Judge.
All right, and for this FYI, number 8 is treasury report for September. November's not over yet. So. I'm Commissioner Hammond, yeah.
I'm good.
Mr. Tice, Mr. Gore.
Good, Judge.
All right, anything motion to, so moved. Motion by Commissioner Tice, second by Commissioner Combs. Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. 12:03 PM. I know we got a couple of executive session items. 20.1 personnel issues, just in case, I'm not sure. But I know we have 20.2 discuss consider sale of purchase of real property. And we have a FMLA. Yeah. Okay, and then 20.3 FMLA. So we will recess to executive session at 12:03 PM. All right, court come to order after executive session. It's now 12:49 PM. For the record, Commissioner Tice is not present. I need a motion on FMLA requests.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gore, second by Commissioner Hammond, to approve the FMLA requests. All those in favor? Opposed, motion carried. We have one sale purchase of real property on the swap of land with TTS on Fisher Road.
Judge, I move that we make a swap of land, the old abandoned Fisher Road of 4.934 acres to TGS in exchange for 7.97 acres of land that surrounds the Beach City Community Building, plus an additional $238,623 in land improvements or cash to be used in the Beach City area.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Gore. Any questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. None further coming for the courts. 12:50 PM. We're done.
Hey, Judge.